Oh, we're back. Hang on, we're back. We've been dropped into it, and we're delighted to have been dropped into it here with all of you. Welcome to the April Monthly Cup for the Trackmania World Tour. I'm Nuleic. I'm joined by OC. Our plan today is to hopefully follow the Blue Jays players all the way through to the grand final. If they don't make it that far, I don't know, OC. At that point, is there a point?
I, I, I have faith. I have a lot of faith
I do have faith.
in Epos particularly. I have a lot of faith in him today. I do think he can certainly go to top 8. But I was looking through the player list of participants before we started, and it only kind of dawned on me maybe 5 minutes ago just how stacked this is. Like when we get to top 32, you could have lobbies full of TMGL players like
Mm.
comfortably, and that's kind of a bit ridiculous. And then, of course, you have all the newer guys coming through. You have like the likes of Melio and Coco and Epos himself,
Mm.
who are coming through, hoping to maybe just disrupt them a little bit. They've been too comfortable in their TMGL castle for too long, and them coming through. So yeah, I'm super excited to hopefully get to see them go all the way.
Yeah, it's going to be super fun. Obviously, format changes this year for the Trackmania World Tour. More of an open circuit kind of vibe now, with multiple tournaments part of the circuit. All of those points then feeding towards the World Championship at the end of the year. And as you say, it's a stacked start to the year. And I think it's nice to see players immediately kind of taking it seriously. You know, I was kind of not worried, but, you know, I think there was definitely a thought that maybe some players were not going to realize that they needed to take it seriously until about halfway through the year, and then realizing, hang on, everyone else has already stacked up a bunch of points, and you see a lot of the top players then start to go for tournaments. But no, right from the get-go here, it's going to get scary, it's going to get intense, and it's going to be a lot of fun competition right away.
It is absolutely, of course, 1,000 World Tour points up for whoever the winner may be, and nice little €600 bonus on top of it, which I don't think they'll complain about if they
Nope.
if they do happen to get. But yeah, of course, World Tour points will apply to all of the top 64 who qualify. I think there's 179
Mm.
participants that have signed up to play. And then we'll go into a time attack qualifier, which should be starting very soon,
Yeah.
of two maps, which I believe are Sublimation and Halfwood,
Uh,
for the TA.
mm-hmm. We'll
And
find out. Yeah,
we'll
could be
find
one
out.
of
We'll
those.
see. I think it's both. I hope it's both. I hope I remembered correctly. But yeah, 10 minutes TA to narrow down that 179 players to 64, then into a single elim bracket, which will once again show kind of how stacked this will get, right? Because
Mm.
there's no second chance.
Yeah.
If you come third in a match, goodbye. We'll see you next month. Basically.
Which
So it's gonna be it's gonna be it should be good. I'm really looking forward to it. It should be quite exciting and quite good.
Yeah, and I think with that in mind, as you said, the single elimination as well does mean a lot of pressure on this time attack as well, because trying to make sure that you have a good seeding, that you do not give yourself a harder road than necessary
Exactly.
through what is going to be a very scary bracket is
Mm.
going to be important.
Yeah.
There are a lot of World Tour points up for grabs today. As you said, 1,000 points for the player in first place. I believe is more than any other tournament has given out up until this point in the circuit. There's
Hmm.
been the GA mixed and play zone tournaments, I believe, are the only two played so
Yeah.
far. But this April Cup definitely going to catapult someone to the top of the rankings
Yeah.
very, very quickly. And
100%.
I think a
Yeah.
lot of players gunning for that.
Yeah, and of course, GA and Playzone were both lands as well, which, depending on availability and travel and where you live in the world, might not be the easiest things in the world to get to. So this
Mm.
is really the first time of this circuit, I suppose, that we're going to get everyone who we think will be competing at the end of it into the same comp, just let them duel it out and let them just have at it, and it's
Yeah.
going to be super exciting.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing how things do shake out once we do get into this. Two maps for the time attack, as has already been said. Lots of players have put the time in on these already as well. Players have been grinding on the 5 maps that have been released as part of this Trackmania World Tour 24 Spring Map Pack. So close competition, I think, the entire way through. I've been
Hmm.
having a look at the maps as well. It should be interesting to see. There's a lot of wood, obviously the newer surface gone in, and
Yeah.
we're going to be seeing how that shakes out. I mean, who's feeling comfortable? There's one track in particular, half wood. I mean, it's fitting,
Yeah.
which is a lot of quick precision wood driving, which some players are going to feel more comfortable on than others, I think.
Yeah, I think specifically wheel players like Granadi and Muda. Muda, I think pretty sure Muda's playing
Hmm.
this with wheel. I know he was learning. He's not playing the comp quite yet with it. He hasn't learned enough, but specifically players who play on wheel are gonna just probably have quite a large advantage with wood. Like the thing about wood is you do have to be really precise, but you also have to stay in the middle. People think it's about driving. You do have
Mm,
to stay almost dead on to carry as much speed as possible. So it's just going to be a precision test for them really throughout the whole map, and it should. I mean, it's going to challenge different parts of their game, right? There's
yeah,
is a sublimation. I think is the half ice, pretty much half a half
yeah,
ice map with quite a lot of ice in it. We have Half Wood, which is obviously the wood map. There's just good maps on offer here. Like there's a
yeah.
lot. You know, there's going to be we're going to see different players have better performances on their favorite map. So
Yeah,
yeah,
we'll see
I
how
think
it
it's
goes.
going to be interesting.
I think we should probably talk a little bit about the Blue Jays players as well, the two that we're going to be following today,
Hmm.
Epos and Bosbez, having recently joined up with the org as well. And just in the context of the conversation we're having there, I mean, Boz, he plays with a mouse. It's our obligatory. We have to mention it at some point, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
Boz
have we
plays with a
been
mouse.
Bosbez with a mouse? Do we know how he's feeling on wood? I mean, I haven't talked to him about it. I don't know if you've heard how he feels about the surface.
I mean, Boz is pretty like Boz is a good player. He's pretty confident
He's
in
pretty good on
his own
most of them,
ability.
yeah.
You know,
But there's been a lot
if
of
there's
there's a lot of conversation just in general, as you said there, like wheel players having advantage on wood or
mm,
whatever. And this Boz is out there with his input style in general. So
yeah,
is he feeling okay about it?
he's also mouse to move. People people don't think that he's mouse to click. He's actually mouse to move. So he moves his arm to steer, not clicks
Yeah,
buttons, which is something that gets people a little bit weird. But I think he'll be fine. I expect him
yeah,
to be completely fine. It's Boz. As I think we're gonna transition and see now. And speak of the devil. There he is himself
yeah.
on our screens.
Hmm.
Boz. This is so this should be the start of TA, maybe.
Yep, there's two separate timers currently counting down on the screen. There is a 2:31 over on the right, and then there's a 17-minute timer up in the top left counting down. What do they mean? Well, probably something. We'll figure it out as
Prob-
things goes on. What
we'll
changes
figure
when
it out.
those countdowns hit zero? Could be anything.
Yeah, I'm worried about that the timers are different. That's gonna throw me a bit. That
Yeah.
that there is different types. But I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure everything. Maybe it hasn't fully gone live yet. That's entirely possible. Here is
Hmm.
Buzz driving on wood, and he seems to navigate that fine. I'm
Yeah.
not an expert of wood driving. I wish I was, but he seemed to navigate it pretty okay. So fair play to him.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a decent look at how things are going for Boz, who's on a decent run through here. Not the fastest run, I think, just based on the splits that he's having through the map at the moment, but feeling okay. We'll see what the time is towards the end of the map as well. Getting very low on that, jumping through
That
into
was
the finish line. It's a 1 minute point one. That's all right. It's not setting the
that's
world alight,
okay.
but that's okay.
He's chilling. He's just, this is definitely a case of this seeding format anyway. A case of don't let the timer get to 10 minutes and you haven't done a clean run.
Yes. Yeah. No.
Ramp your
Absolutely.
times up. Don't have a 1 minute 8 second as your seeding time, because then you might be in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah.
With getting through to the top 64. But yeah, like I'm sure it's just a case of set a really nice banker, and then once you have a really nice banker, you kind of just have at it. Full in TA brain, push everything, and see what time you come out with.
That's it. And don't forget to unbind your reset button before rounds start later, right?
Oh, yeah, I've
Once you're
thankfully
in that
never.
TA mindset, you gotta
Yeah,
not continue in that TA
yeah,
mindset.
it's gonna all be about then refocusing, because I know a lot of specifically EPOS and BOS like to warm up with a lot of rounds. Um, so maybe slightly different to them that a format has required them to TA for a little bit
Mm.
before immediately going into 1v1 matches. But yeah, sure, we'll see how they navigate it. But they'll be grand. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they'll be fine. This is a very, very stacked time attack server. OC.
Yeah,
I
I've
mean, just looking down the list there, currently sitting in the top seven: Elcon, Granati, Carl Jr., Mutta, Pack, Akros, Razi. I've seen Coco in here. Boz is here. Epos is on the
plus is
server
here.
as well. I saw Coco somewhere as well. It's just a lot of very good players, isn't it?
EPOS is just called a crow's the goat there in the in the chat, and then Carl is also there apparently. Carl Pack and a
Mm.
crows. Now that is a screenshot right there
Yeah,
for a crows,
yeah.
just to be sat at the podium next to those two. As is that the 10 minutes up? Oh, it must be actually. Okay, so
Okay.
Halfwood's done.
Halfwood's done. Carl
Okay.
Jr. wins the server. Maybe not massively surprising. Carl's
No,
pretty good. There's a
tends to
little
be
bit of
shocked.
confusion worth noting as well. People are going to spot Carl Jr. in the server as well. That is lingo, as I think
Yes.
most people who have followed any kind of competitive Trackmania in the last year probably should have been able to guess. You see a Canadian flag and a name you don't recognize, you just go, yeah, that's lingo.
With an Evo tag, Canadian flag, Evo tag, name you don't recognize and haven't seen before. Top of
Yeah.
TA leaderboards, it has
it,
to be lingo. If it's not lingo, I don't know. There's something seriously wrong.
it's lingo having hacked Carl Jr.'s computer and managing to change his name. That's
Yeah, basically. What would really mess people up if Carl Jr. went to Carl Jr. Jr. and Lingo went to Carl Jr.
Oh, that would be spicy. I think they should definitely do that. Carl Jr.
Yeah.
definitely would be the kind of person to be on board for that joke, right?
Perhaps. Uh, per- perhaps.
I just feel
But
like it's below him. He's above it.
hmm, moving into sublimation here, current world record by Richie is 56.2.
Hmm.
Um, so maybe we'll see times close to that. Like obviously, a lot of the top players would be practicing offline, right?
Yeah.
They won't want to be giving any players they're playing against the singlest bit of intel or tell of what their times are and stuff like that. So I do expect to see world records broken. Maybe not at this stage, but definitely as we progress later on today, I expect to see a couple world records set. I'm going to throw that out there now. I expect to see very, very nice times
I
driven
tend to
by
agree
people.
with you. We'll see
Yeah.
what the times are now. A lot of players having started out on their first run. The 360 then at the end of sublimation. Carl Jr. leads the way. Pack slides out a little bit. Epos with a very good time as well, it looked like there. And Ball's just a little bit behind the leaders at the front of the pack. But some very solid banker times for a lot of the British players. And Epos and Ball's 7th and 8th, 57.5 and 57.6. You're feeling okay about that, as you said, OC. It's about getting a good time in and then you can really push now.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, like you set your banker. It's like an F1 quali, right? 10 minutes, set your banker, and then absolutely have at it. Just go hell for leather, just all the way through the track, and you know, do what you can do.
Yeah, see where you can end up on that leaderboard. I mean, you can see though immediately some of the players that did crash in that first round as players were driving through from the immediate start have already started to set some good times as well. So those 7th and 8th places that Epos and Boz were in at the end of kind of players having gone straight from the start line to the finish have already started to slip. There are good times. I think probably most of the top 10 at this point now looking to be underneath 57 seconds. Which is, yeah, makes sense. These guys are quick. The world record, as has been said, 56.2, so still a ways off it. There is room to improve here on the time attack server, but I think probably 56.7, 56.8 probably going to end up being a very, very solid time. 56.6, 56.5 would be top 5.
Yeah, I expect that 100%. And a small bit of intel. Epos posted a screenshot in the BITM World Tour uh, server of he was practicing, and he was his current PB is a point 0.3, and if you looked at the top left hand corner, point 0.3 is only 0.1 behind world record. If you had looked in the top left hand corner, he was point 0.3 ahead of said point 0.3 PB. So yeah, I expect to see definitely anything better than a point 0.5 will get you top 5 in the leaderboard. Now, is the leaderboard just this server or is it combined?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so it's combined. Okay.
Okay.
So that's everyone of both servers. Is there multiple services? Okay, I have word of the people in my ears that there's 5 quality servers, and the top left is the combined leaderboard of all 5 quality servers. So yeah, I mean it's nice, I guess, that you, even if you're in a different server, you get a general indication of what's going on around you, and you can plan as best you can. As Epos looks like he's on a good time.
Yeah, this is looking
Pause.
quick.
It's gonna be a point
56,
4.
7. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see where we end up.
And
Look,
he's fed
well,
360.
I think that is the section we're likely to see a lot of the failures on. It's not quite a full identity in the traditional
But
Trackmania World Tour style, but it is a tricky part at the end of the map where players are going to make mistakes. So, hey, we can call it an identity if we want. There's no rules to say we can't.
it's the closest thing to an identity that we have in
Yeah.
this map pack that we've been given. And like, say what you want about identities. Personally, for me, they did put me off playing the maps in the past.
Mm.
And I really like that we seem to have gone away from the identities and just have given maps where you play them, and whoever wins is the person who comes out of the played part of the map the fastest. And
Mm.
the identity doesn't, like, yeah, it's great to watch and wow, like he won after being last in the identity, but it's just really nice to see that even though we have a nice 360 as EPOS nails it this time. Oh, apparently not.
Yeah,
Okay, it's
I think
not.
he lost a bit of speed through it. Gear might have slipped in the middle of the 360, but either way, he obviously felt he was only less than a tenth ahead of the PB on the server at that point, and felt that that
Hmm.
was gone. And I'm going to say it, I think EPOS probably knows better than us instantly whether or not he has lost the lead he had.
But also, is EPOS hiding pace? Possibly.
Maybe, but I don't think that run was the pace to hide.
No, I don't think maybe it wasn't the pace to hide. You're right. Yeah, no, yeah, you're probably right. No, it probably wasn't exactly the pace to hide, but yeah, sure, that could also be a part of it, that these players don't want to drive. They just want to drive fast enough and
Mm,
not give everything they've got. Because when we go into matches later, there is going to be no kind of map pick. So your seed is kind of just who you're playing against. It doesn't give you any advantage in terms of what map you get to play first. The maps will be
yeah.
randomized order for each round. So every round will have a different randomized order for all the matches. Um, so, seeding first is kind of like, okay, I'm going to get probably an easier first couple matches, maybe, um,
Mm.
than anything else. But it's not going to give you that advantage of a map pick that we saw in the last format with the duos, where your seed, allowed you to. I can't remember the format, but it was like pick ban, and someone banned first,
We
and
only
someone
had it
picked
for a full
first.
year OC. It's probably fine that you can't
Yeah,
remember it.
that was a long time ago. We've gone 4 months into the year, and this is kind of the first Trackmania
Uh,
esports kind of thing,
yeah.
full thing we've gotten
No,
that is
you're
like
right. Beacon didn't
Nadeo
exist
and
either. You're so
no, no,
correct.
no, Beacon did exist, but in terms of like Nadeo and this
Yeah.
now homologated circuit that it's been called and stuff like that, this is the first like big event that we've gotten. It's 4 months into the year, so it just kind of feels like feels like a long time waiting since the start of the year just to really get it. So
Yeah. Can
yeah.
I just for a second say I did enjoy learning the word homologated from this circuit?
Yeah, it was great. I knew about it because like F1 stuff and all that, and I
Yeah.
saw it come up. But yeah, it's the way they used that, the memes that came around of that, and just it
Hmm.
was very funny watching like the very first time people were reading the word, and there's a great spam clip of him trying to pronounce it, and it was just it was brilliant. It was brilliant.
Yeah, my understanding is that it is a much more used word in French, like the French equivalent,
Yes.
homologation, and then the English word that maybe could have been gone for is just approved, would have made
Mm,
as much sense, the approved
yeah.
circuit, but homologated does sound more official. I can't fault them on
It
that,
does. It
so
it
that's pretty
sounds
fun.
very businessy and very fancy. And I think that's an important part of this is to make sure that, you know, we need the style points.
Absolutely, and also just sticking to the words in the English language that have a French influence rather than the Germanic influence. I mean, we should probably
Mm.
do more of that. Entire cast avoiding the German side of the English language.
Yeah, yeah. After the incident in the Irish chat today with the dirty dasty matrix grade and the trauma. But anyway, we'll move away from languages that we definitely can't speak anymore because
Bah
it's
oui.
been so long since we've learned them. No, no. Oh, I
Yeah.
knew I was going to start talking French to me and I'm not going to understand a word. It's over.
No, don't worry. I'd just be embarrassing myself. We are getting down to the last 2 minutes here of Time Attack on Sublimation. EPOS hasn't had an improvement in a while, but a 56.7. Currently not sitting particularly close to the top 7. He's a couple of tenths away, and I do think a few people have overtaken. So trying to set a decent time here, and this is a good run. 2 tenths faster. The 360 looks decent. What's the time? 3.5
Four.
tenths of an improvement will launch EPOS up that leaderboard. He's 1,000th behind Massa, but 4th place feeling pretty good overall at the moment.
And that Elcon time up there in the top corner is just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit slower than the current world record.
Yeah,
I do believe.
200ths basically,
Yeah, basically
21
that.
thousandths. Maybe less.
I'm
No, it's
actually.
like 17 thousandths, I think. Yeah. Mats is hard
Oh,
on the fly.
Mats with Nua. Yes, this is what I needed. Needed on my Sunday afternoon as checking sublimation. Yes, that time was just 17 thousandths
Hang on.
away.
Epos is flying. He's doing a half tenths down again. This would be the world record time if he can hold that lead over what his current PB is on the server. Does he choose to finish the run? He's lost a little bit of time on the ice there as well. It'll come down then to the 360. He's lost a lot of time losing speed on the ice. I'm going to say it. I think he may have released a little bit just on the exit from that icy touches as well. But that was pretty close at the very least to world record pace.
Yeah, definitely. That's the thing. Like, Epos can do it. He could
Yep.
definitely just do these runs, and we've gotten so used to it in BITM, right? Of just Epos driving unbelievably quick. But yeah, that looks like it's going to be the end of TA qualification. Now, where do I go to see the seeds?
Well,
That will be
somewhere.
a good
You would
question.
hope that we'll have access to it somewhere, but the answer is we don't really know just yet. Matches will be released per our understanding on the Trackmania website shortly, but when, how quickly it will
Uh,
take, who knows?
Minutes. 3 minutes is
3 minutes.
when the round of 64 is due to start. It says it's due to start at 2:20. Well, 2:25 my time, 1:25 if you're in BITM areas.
In
Um,
a civilized part of the world.
okay, Nua.
Listen,
Okay, let's not
that's a
offend
fight that, listen,
everyone.
I'll be honest, that's a fight that BITM loses. I don't think there's enough of us to make that claim.
But yeah, so it's due to start in 3 minutes. Um, I'm assuming there's probably a very quick way that they're going to release the matches to people. It's probably a very dirty spreadsheet and be like, go look here, go to this before we give you the guys the nice presented information. It's probably what it's going to be for the players so that they can get in and get sorted. But I am
Fingers crossed.
currently trying to find any information on seeds and matches. Maybe in the Trackmania Discord, checking.
Yeah, maybe.
We'll find
We'll
it.
figure it
I'm
out. And this
sure.
is, I think, a decent time to remind everyone that this is the Blue Jay stream cross with BITM as well. I probably should have said ex-BITM or BITM on behalf of Blue Jays. There were better options than the sentence I did end up choosing. But the main thing is that the word Blue Jays was in there. So we're going to be following Epos and Boz throughout the bracket today. The players who are now signed with Blue Jays. And hopefully seeing them go deep on into the tournament and see plenty of them.
Yeah, exactly. And we definitely expect it. We definitely expect it to happen, as I'm still desperately trying to find any information on the matches. Uh, um,
Confirmation from production that they are
oh.
also desperately trying to find something.
And
We'll get there.
Nua is sat there with his 3 screens, probably not helping in the slightest. But
Nope,
that's
not
okay.
even a little
That's
bit.
okay. That's okay.
We all have
That's
our roles in life,
okay.
and mine is to sit here and fill time and listen to OC mutter to himself in the depths of madness and despair, and try and make sure that everyone at home is having a good viewing experience while that happens. As OC looks slightly nervous, maybe a little
Yeah.
bit scared of
So I
whatever
went to
information
the
has just come through.
I went to the Trackmania page and it was suddenly in French, and it kind of just it kind of just jump scared me a little bit. I didn't. Just tried to log in to see if I could see the matches, but that's
Jump scared
no.
by the entire language of French.
Yeah, no. I just kind of caught me off guard a little bit. Apologies there, people. Um, yeah, I'm sure the matches will get released at some point, and
Yeah.
we'll know then.
I suppose the option we have is we could throw to a quick break and come back in a couple of minutes when we have matches and have managed to figure out where we're going. Patster, how do we feel about that? That
Yeah,
sounds reasonable to me. We have confirmation. We'll be going to a quick break. We will be back as soon as we find anything on the matches to let OC do his research in peace. See you all in a couple of minutes.